Let me be clear. No one should have to worry about their job if they have to be quarantined. No employer should feel like they have to lay off a worker because of the virus. We can support you, and we will.
The world pandemic, coronavirus, has changed everything. How we go to work, how we shop, how we live, and a lot of canceled travel right around the time of March break. Even Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau self-isolating himself for 14 days. I'm here with one of Canada's top employment and labour lawyers, Sunira Chowdhury, to talk about what a lot of people have on their mind right now is, as a worker, what are your rights? As an employer, employee, what are our options right now? I know that you are certainly getting a lot of questions. What are some of the top issues that you're hearing about?
Top issues: should employees start to work from home? Many employers are not super comfortable with that quite yet. Many employers can't have their employees providing services from home. But employers right now should consider what steps can they take, what work can be done from home. Can employees start meeting with clients virtually, as an example, taking teleconferences and meetings virtually rather than coming into the office to start containing some of that spread and the risk for other employees?
Let's talk a little bit about, I mentioned March break earlier, so a lot of cancellation of trips and a lot of people staying at home, still hoarding toilet paper for some reason. But can employers tell an employee that they have to stay home, no private travel, no work travel, non-essential to all the hot zones and the hot spots? We know certainly President Trump has made some very strong border security announcements recently.
Sure.
What can an employer edict to an employee, for example?
An employer can direct anything really, but be prepared to pay for it. So if you're going to ask your employee to stay home because you're concerned about their recent travel or potentially a family member's recent travel, we're definitely hearing about this, be prepared to pay your employees to stay at home. So back to my earlier point, figure out ways that employees can work from home so you're getting something in exchange for that pay. I think it's reasonable now, given these unprecedented circumstances, that if you are traveling to a high-risk country, and they seem to be growing by the day, be prepared for your employer to ask you to stay at home, to self-quarantine for those 14 days, even if you're asymptomatic, because the risk of spread in the workplace is too high. Whether or not you're going to get paid if you decide to go to one of these high-risk places is yet to be seen. But employers, if you're going to direct your employees to stay at home, again, be prepared to either ask employees to use vacation days, or you're going to be keeping them on the payroll while they're at home.
The challenge, of course, is the lack of consistency. Every company has their own policy. Every organization has different type of employees, for example. Some need to travel, some don't. Some are here. Certainly, you know, keeping your laptop with you at all times and things that seem very common sense, but we don't really think about these sorts of things. I want to talk about an area where, you know, as we said, everything that has happened with COVID-19 has changed how we handle our lives. Let's talk about those individuals who we refer to in sort of the precarious employment. You know, we think we go get our coffee in the morning. What about those folks? We're going in and we're talking to them. They're not wearing masks, or hopefully
handing
they're
us our coffee.
Handing us our coffee. The grocery stores. Let's talk about those employees. What's the protection for them?
Well, exactly. We've talked a lot about offices being able to shut down and those employees working from home. What about employees who are working in the malls and restaurants and things like that? I think the government, first of all, has to step in and lead these discussions, perhaps asking consumers, shop online. Stores, I think organizations need to be making those decisions to help save and protect the health of their employees and prevent people from going to shopping malls, big gatherings of over 1,000 people. I think if you were to go to Yorkdale today, you're going to see more than 1,000 people in there. So I think skeleton staff in the brick and mortar stores, potentially asking folks not to go into your Tim Hortons, but instead go to drive-through, tap instead of exchanging cash, because that hand-to-hand sort of contact is exactly what we should be trying to avoid right now.
And of course, that is being referred to now as social distancing. We're seeing major sporting events, of course, being canceled, the NBA postponing their season. This is really affecting so many aspects of all of our lives, everything that we touch. But we don't want to wrap ourselves in bubbles, and we don't want to, do those sorts of things. But the notion of self-isolation is really at the top of mind as well. Can an employee refuse to work?
I think
if they feel that there's a threat or a concern.
I think they can, because of the unprecedented time, absolutely, but don't expect to get paid for that time. Figure out what bucket of days you might be able to look into. Do you want to use your vacation? Do you want to use sick days if you are sick? Are there personal days that you can use? The government is stepping in to allow for the EI sick benefit to roll in a little bit faster than we're used to.
We will waive the mandatory 1-week waiting period for employment insurance to kick in.
So if you are experiencing some symptoms, you should be able to get some support that way as well.
Let's talk a little bit more about sort of the inconsistency with labor laws in this country.
Sure.
And every company is different, every province is different. Is this the time to sort of look at that and look for some consistency?
I think this is a time that extraordinary measures will come in, as we're seeing from Trudeau. I think those changes that are coming in will probably have a more of a permanent effect in the way that we look at prolonged absences from the workplace, because it's not just about helping employees. Employers are looking for a lot of help too, whether it's short-term loans, helping employers meet their payroll every week. These are going to be new challenges, but hopefully it's not going to be all one-sided. Hopefully it's not just going to help the employee. We really also need to help employers stay in business.
Log on to Facebook and Twitter. Let us know what you think, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.